Tell you pretty much everything I know about hitting out of the sand. It is probably the best part of my game, and it's relatively automatic. I'm never upset about being in the sand, and I just want to go over everything I know, and I want you to try out bits and pieces of this one at a time to ultimately just get out of the sand and on the green every time. I think that's a reasonable goal for an amateur golfer. We're going to go over setup, we're going to go over swing, we're going to go over approach, and some misconceptions that I see a lot of amateurs have. So a lot of amateurs do one of two things, and I'm going to start off by doing one of them. Right? They don't get out of the sand. They decelerate. This is like 30 foot. The pin is 30 feet away from me, and the mindset behind hitting a successful sand shot is we need to swing like it's 90 yards away from us, right? And the other shot that people hit is this, right? That was a little bit too good. That wasn't what I was trying to do. More so this, right? All ball because people try and help the ball up, and they don't get the common denominator that we need to have in the sand, which is taking sand out, right? And there's like three pieces of the puzzle, right? There is swinging fast, there is taking sand out, and there is maintaining an open face through impact. If we get all three of those, it is automatic. It's automatic. So let's go over stance. Let's go over club selection first. Every time you're in a greenside bunker, take your most lofted club. You know, when companies label S on clubs, sand wedge, it's typically 54 to 56 degrees of loft. I have a 58 degree. Anybody that buys a full set of golf clubs usually has an S on a wedge rather than a degree of loft. And if you have, just take your most lofted club, whether that be a SW or a 56 or a 58 or a 60, we need to get this ball up fast. It requires loft. And what I actually like to do is I like to take this loft right here. It is standard 58, and I need to open it up and get the grooves pointed towards the sky, because this is a shot where I want to embrace having bounce. I don't do so much of that on the chipping green because I get really steep, but this is actually where I want to just thud the sand, rather than if I have the leading edge right here pretty sharp, it's going to be digging, rather than if I have it open. There's a difference in that sound. So what I like to do is, in order to open that face up, I like to open it up, and then I like to stand to the handle. Okay, so the butt of the grip is pointed towards my belt loop. What that's going to yield is a ball position slightly forward of center. All right, now I'm sure you've seen the drill where you draw a line behind the sand, and I like that as well. I like that for entry point. And some people even look a little bit behind the sand, because again, what we cannot have is ball only, or what we also can't have is ball first, right? We need to take sand out before the ball. All right, now we know this is about my ball position, so pretty synonymous with that of which would be like a 5-iron. And what I like to do that kind of differentiates me from other pros. You know, Jordan Spieth is kind of similar to me. Tony Finau and Justin Thomas are a little bit different. What they like to do is they like to have a very square setup, right? So their feet are square to the target, their handle is low, right? And they cradle the baby. So they go there and then there. That's how they maintain an open club face. And what I like to do is something a little bit different, and I think it kind of stacks the odds in my favor a little bit. And a lot. This is kind of like the old school bunker approach. It's to where you have an open stance, right? You have an open stance, like my feet are to the left, and you just swing across that line. You swing across that line. And because I maintain that open face, I'm able to have this ball get up, and it gets up quickly. So you need to apply speed. I like a wide stance as well. I like a wide stance. I like a little bit more weight on my front foot. And then here's the big swing thought. Kind of cast a fishing rod out to the right. I don't want to hang on. When I create this angle right here, I don't want to hang on to it. That's how I get a dig, and we don't want to dig. What I want to do is I want to create this angle and then simply release it. That's something that also creates a lot of speed, kind of similar to a driver feel. Like you don't want to hang on to it and compress it. You want to release it and get a nice soft release. Because if I hang on to this, right, something like that's more likely to happen. And that's me releasing. And still not a great shot, but you know, we get it. Like I said, the goal is to get this ball on the green. Okay, so I do like the idea. I do dig my feet in. I get that face up. The grooves are towards the sky. Create the angle, release the angle, and speed up. Speed up. I cannot emphasize that enough. How about grip pressure? How about grip pressure? We want to swing hard, but we don't want this ball to go far. So if I'm gripping this club at a 10 out of 10, it is going to add ball speed and make the ball go too far. I want soft mitts, okay? I want soft mitts. That is a requirement around the whole short game, not just in the bunk. So I fancy the analogy of kind of like holding a tube of toothpaste, and your job is to not let it out. And it just comes out every time. And these aren't perfect bunker shots by any means, but it's the technique of just giving yourself a look for par. The last thing we want is we don't want another bunker shot, and we also don't want to rocket it over the green. So feel free to accelerate into the sand. I'm gonna, just as a way to mitigate that brain block, I'm going to swing this club literally like I'm going to hit it over into the trees right there. And because I'm going to take enough sand, it is a perfect golf shot. It's a perfect golf shot. So swing fast, swing free, and as long as you take sand out, I do like the entry and the exit point, right? You can draw the lines there. It's not a big deal. And even if you need to look a little bit behind the ball, set the club up behind the ball. Do what you need to do. And that's the mindset behind getting out of the sand. I hope you enjoy. And I encourage you not to do this all at once, but try bits and pieces and let me know.